My name is Katie and welcome to my video. I am doing the reread tag today. My good friend Brittany over at the channel Literarily Smitten tagged me to do this, and I am so happy that she did. I will link her video in the description box, and then I will see if I can find the original, and I will link that below as well. I don't think I really need to do much introduction here, so let's just hop into it. The first question is, where do you sit on the rereading scale from almost never to all the time? I would guess somewhere in the middle. If I almost never reread, I probably wouldn't be doing this tag because I wouldn't have any answers. And I don't do it all the time. It's not like a once a month kind of deal. I think I was working on some of my yearly stats, and right now it actually looks like I did read about 10 books, like reread 10 books or so, which is kind of a lot, actually. But still, I'm not going to say all the time, because I am very specific, I guess, with what I reread. Question 2, has that changed over your reading life? Oh, absolutely yes. There was a period of time when I never reread anything because I had so many books sitting on my shelf waiting to be read that it felt like a waste of time to reread. At this point now, I'm less concerned with the books sitting on my shelf and more concerned with just reading the things that I want to read at any given moment. Question 3, when do you reread? Immediately after finishing a book, or not till years later, or when the mood strikes? Definitely probably when the mood strikes. There are books where I've read it pretty close to immediately after, and then there are books that I waited years to reread. Question 4, why do you reread books? Any reason really. If I liked the book, specifically if I liked the characters in a book, I will reread it. Mostly I think I reread books that are in a series because I've found that if I reread the first couple books in the series, or the first book in the series, then when I get to the sequel, it's much more enjoyable for me because I'm more recently caught up on the world and the characters and things of that nature, specifically with fantasy books, because there is so much world building in a fantasy novel that you can get lost really easily. Question 5, how do you reread? Faster, slower, or just the best bits? I would think it's probably about the same speed as I normally read. The only thing I can think, it might be a little bit faster, because sometimes when reading a book, I'll have to go back and reread certain sections if I didn't understand something, or if I get to a part and I'm confused, I'll flip back a few pages and try to figure out what went on and what I missed. So maybe a little bit faster, because in a reread I wouldn't expect to do that. Question 6, who or what do you reread more specifically? Which authors or genres or individual books? I'm not totally sure I can even answer this. There's nothing specifically that I can think of that I reread. I'll reread books that I find comforting. I will reread books just because I enjoyed the world. I will reread books because of the characters. There's no specific authors or anything that I reread. Question 7, is there a book that you found better when you reread it? Yes, Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. People would talk about Laini Taylor and her beautiful writing style, and I read Strange the Dreamer and I enjoyed it, but I didn't quite understand what the hype was around Laini Taylor. I bought Muse of Nightmares when it came out, which is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer, and then I just let it sit for probably 2 years. And then I picked it up one day and wanted to read it, but realized I didn't remember enough from Strange the Dreamer to carry on. So I reread Strange the Dreamer and I just found it so immersive. And the writing was beautiful. And the characters were very endearing. So I don't know if it was just like a difference in mood or a difference in what I was interested in reading. I'm not sure what changed, but I had so much better of a time reading it the second time. Question 8, a book that was worse upon reread. Ash Princess by Laura Sebastian. That is a series I should not have finished. I kind of felt like it was a waste of time. When I read Ash Princess for the first time, I thought it was just like a good, solid YA series. I had mostly been impressed, I think, because our lead character wasn't like your typical physically badass lead character. Her strength lay much more in her presence of mind and her ability to be a leader and to be calm in bad situations. And I liked that. I liked it being more of a mental strength rather than a physical strength. I thought that was very interesting. But then I reread it, and I didn't like any of the characters. I found the entire plotline boring. So I don't know if this is a case of my mood just changed, what I was interested in reading changed. I don't know. Question 9. A book that you'd like even more upon a second reading, or a book that will benefit from a second reading. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I just read this in December, and it was phenomenal, but it is a very dense book, and there is a lot in there. And I think it's a book that you could reread it several times and discover something new each time. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. I don't think I'll be reading it anytime soon, again, because that's a large undertaking. It's a long book. But yeah, I definitely think I will reread it in the future. Question 10. A book you want to reread because you didn't understand it the first time. I'm not totally sure about this. I'm not 100% sure I have an answer. The only thing I can think of is I read quite a few books on physics, and there are times when I don't fully comprehend what's going on in certain sections just because I haven't read enough, I haven't learned enough. So I have several books that I think could benefit from a reread that are on that topic, but in particular I can't think of which one. Question 11. A book from your childhood that you want to reread. There are a lot of books that could fall into this category. I guess I'll mention a series that I am currently rereading from my childhood, and that is the Royal Diaries series. I have 2 of them up here that I've just recently reread. I finally own the entire series. I'm very proud of that. I know I read several as a kid, but I definitely didn't read the whole series, and I think it was just because my library didn't have all of them, and I don't think I realized how expansive the series was. And then on top of that, as like a 9-year-old, I was pretty content bouncing from thing to thing. I wasn't going to sit there and seek out more books in a series, especially when I don't think I realized there were more books. Question 12. A book you want to reread because you read it a long time ago. Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I love this series. I loved the movies with Megan Follows. They're great. I've watched those so many times. I haven't read the books probably since I was 17 though. I had the box set, and I don't know what happened to them. And I think I'm going to purchase it again, because I remember reading those books like one after the other. I think I was reading a book a day, and I found them so enjoyable. The final question, question 13, which one book have you reread the most times, or a book you will read for the rest of your life? So this is not a book I will read for the rest of my life. I don't think there are any that I can say definitively that I will read for the rest of my life. But the book I've reread the most times, to my knowledge anyway, that I remember reading a lot, is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I own this book, but I haven't read it since I was about 14 or 15. I just remember I read it and I loved it so much that I immediately reread it, and then I think I read it back to back at least 3 times when I had it. And then I know I checked it out from the library again and read it again. I don't know what it was about that book, if it was the characters or if it was what they were going through, but I adored it. I'm not going to read it as an adult, I don't think. I've thought about this several times, but I just don't think it's going to hold up, and I don't think that as an adult I'm going to love the content like I did as a kid. So I'm just going to let it lie happily in my memory as like a nostalgic love. And that is the reread tag. The last prompt is, who are you tagging? I'm kind of late to the party on this one, so I don't think I'm going to tag anybody because pretty much everybody I would tag has already done it. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the tag? Is rereading something that you like to do? If you're new here and you like my content, subscribe, stick around. I'd love to see you in my comments. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.